Friday night. Let's go. Your boy DELRAY, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Come on up in here. We got to talk about this and some other things I wish to talk about. We going real live tonight. Have them letting them have something to talk about for Saturday morning. Waiting for y'all to come up in here. Your boy DELRAY. Give you some of this straight game. See if YouTube come on YouTube, send out the notifications, please. Algorithm. Let's go. Truth Seeker, what's happening? Thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate you, man. You could be doing anything in the world right now, but you chose to come over here to kick it with me, more importantly. But we're gonna get into some things, man. I got some things I want to cover. I've been waiting till Friday night. I know a lot of people, some people go out, but a lot of people home chilling, probably watching Netflix. Miss Brown Sugar, John Serrano, what's up? Michael B, what's good? We're gonna talk about this, man. Not only the situation involving Tupac, as we've talked about before, in the investigation and his family hiring Shapiro, the high power attorney, to investigate whether Diddy was involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Carla, what's happening, Carla? How you doing? Come on up in here. I try to come with the facts, a truth seeker. Sometimes they like to distort the truth, though. You know what I mean? People don't really like they don't really like the truth as much as they say they do. Some people, anyway. But most of the people that come over here and tune in with what we doing, man, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your high level of intelligence, and just being able to convey a message and say some things that put people on point. More importantly, Cold Dip. What's happening? Vancouver, BC in the house. Well, I'm going to get into it like this. Look here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. Most of you guys probably have seen it already. But my man, the Art of Dialogue, we did the interview the other day for the people who went over there and saw it. Appreciate you for watching it. If you haven't, go over there and see it. So we did the interview the other day. The guy who wrote the fake book, and said that Kim Porter wrote it, right? So I want to tell you guys first. I'm gonna start it off with that, and then we're gonna get into the Tupac thing because it's all intertwined, if you will. So the guy reaches out to the Art of Dialogue, and so I decided to do the interview. Like I said, and so more importantly, most people don't understand. When I went to do the interview, right? And I wanted to tell people this. It's different. I could talk to you guys live, you know what I mean, versus talk to you the Cali way, what's happening, and versus talk to you guys through doing a regular video and then posting it, right? But I want to talk to you guys live. Giuseppe, what's up? So check it out. So when I approached the video, most people yeah, they sent out the bots. Let's be clear. They sent out the bots to try to get people to not watch it and say, oh, it was, the interviewer was horrible. Oh, he seemed like he was angry. Oh, he seemed like he was on Diddy's side. Or, if you look at the comments, you can see that, that somebody's sending bot comments, and YouTubers have been having a problem with that as of late. People sending these automatic bot comments, negative comments when they don't like your channel. You can kind of figure out who's behind it, if you will. But so I do the interview. So when I approached the interview, my thing was, I knew about the book. I listened to the audio book, you know what I mean? And I'm very good, and I took notes. And so what I did was I contrasted what was in the book with the real life timelines. As most of you people know, Greg Robinson, what's happening? Uh, Amar Dizzle, the streets is watching. What's good? Welcome back. Appreciate you. Um, so what I did was I read the book and then I contrasted it with real world situations that we all know, most of the people in this chat room know about. You understand what I'm saying? You guys know about when Tupac said that he walked up to the Quad Studio that night. He basically said that he saw Little C's, and Little C's said he was outside. They was outside rolling up a blunt or something like that, and that's when Tupac said he felt comfortable. When he saw Little C's, he said he kind of felt, not so much as nervous about him going to the studio. So um the guy, Chris Todd, aka uh, Jamal T for Tupac, Millwood, if you will, basically said that he didn't believe that. He didn't believe that part right there when Tupac walks up to the studio. Little C said he seen him. He yelled down. He was like, "Oh, I didn't believe like that. Believe that. Oh, come on up, da 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 da, and so on and so forth." Little C was just telling him, "Hey, yo, Big is here. Come on up to the studio." You know what I mean? Tupac said that happened. So when a guy who's not familiar with the culture, who writes a book and then states something about that in the book, but he says he doesn't believe that, and the person who was shot in Tupac basically explains in the Vibe magazine and said it also on audio that he saw Little C's, and when he saw Little C's, he kind of felt a little bit more less nervous, if you will. So, read the book. So those when the questions that I was asking, I wanted to see if he really understood and knew how well we, not just me, but you guys also, right? So what's happening? Kareem Smith, Michael B, Las Vegas in the building, Keys, what's happening? So like I said, so what he didn't understand is that most of us already know. So the people who really knew, if you, and a lot of people didn't buy the book, but if you knew about the situation with Tupac, you already knew, okay, cool. When I asked him that, he said, well, I didn't believe that. Well, I'm like, this guy don't know what he's talking about. And then once again, once I started asking him certain questions and he could not give me any kind of a definitive answer, like the question in reference to, do you have any videos with Kim Porter on the video? Doing anything like you say in the book, right? He had to admit to the fact that he did not have anything, right, on Kim Porter doing anything like he said in the book. And he said that I was just going on what Kim said. No, Kim didn't say anything because Kim didn't write that book and Kim didn't leave no hard drive. People don't really understand. This guy took it upon himself. Look, let me show y'all something. You see, he gave me this book right here, right? He gave me this book. This is one of the last copies. You see on it says not for sale, right? Not for resale, right? So look, it says, when you read right here, it says buy, and it's scratched out. Then it says for, right? When it's supposed to say by Kimberly A. Porter, right? It's supposed to say by her, and it's supposed to say forwarded by, but he scratched out the name. I want you to understand something. When he did that, he rushed. Another thing, the book was published. Most people don't understand this. The book was published. If you can see right there, it says August 13th, 2004. Made in USA, Las Vegas, Nevada. Right? Okay. Now, that tells me that the book was published, or should I say manufactured to be published, the month before. So it says to me it was a rush job. Get it? There's no copyright date. There's no nothing on it. It was a rush job of a book. So now I go into the Faith Evans situation, which I'm knowing. I'm like, in the book it says, yeah, P. Diddy is having a conversation at the office. Faith walks in and says to Faith, yeah, that's why I sent you at that to fuck that nigga Tupac or something like that. Like as if P. Diddy sent Faith to like sent her out to get at Tupac when doing the whole East Coast and West Coast thing. And I'm thinking to myself, well, when did that happen? Well, it couldn't have happened before Tupac went to jail because everything was cool. Everything was all right. So what he had to be referring to, this only could have happened. Listen to me. And he kept interrupting me. The guy, Chris Todd, aka Jamal, T for Tupac Millwood, because he said he put the T in the middle of the Tupac and the T in the middle of the Jamal name for Tupac. Nobody would know that, right? So when I questioned him about the situation, I'm like, well, when did this happen? And he was like, well, I don't really know about the Tupac and, the Faith and all of this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, my thing is, well, why would you put it in the book? Well, Kim wrote it. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Because let me tell you what Kim wouldn't have done. And I can honestly speak on this. Kimberly Porter would not have put anything like that in a memoir and saying that she was in the office with Sean Combs and Faith, and Puffy was calling Biggie all kinds of fat fucks. You understand what I'm saying? This is what the guy was saying in the book. The book says, yeah, this fat fuck, that thing. No. And so I knew that right away. I'm like, nah, this doesn't sound like how we talk and how we get down. And you know what I mean? It just didn't come across like that. So I asked about that situation. I'm like, so you saying that, Puffy was mad at Biggie because Tupac and Biggie was going to start a record label? When was this going to happen? It had to have happened after Tupac had got out of jail. And we know that Tupac was shot on November 30th, 1994. So if Tupac is shot on November 30th, 1994, then how in the hell is Puffy going to send at that particular time? Faith Evans was his #1 artist. Faith Evans had went platinum. Her album went platinum, right? So why in the hell Puffy going to send Faith at Tupac? Tupac had just got out of jail, right? October 12th, 1995, Tupac got out of jail. 6 days later, we at the Hollywood Athletic Club, and where I see Tupac at the Hollywood Athletic Club. I'm watching as Faith rolling up. Remember, I told the world about what Biggie said in Hypnotized. There I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3, bang every MC easily, busily. Biggie was referring to the night that Faith met Tupac at the Hollywood Athletic Club because it got back to him because somebody called him from the Hollywood Athletic Club and told him that Faith was kicking it with Tupac. They weren't together, but like, how the athletic club was, they had like 15 pool tables upstairs, downstairs, a DJ and the whole 9 yards, right? So when Tupac pulled up, I seen him. So my thing was, I seen that actual altercation. So I would know immediately, right? She wasn't sent because she didn't even anticipating on seeing him. He was walking across the street and she pulled up. And then she just stopped and was like, hey, what's up, Pac? And he was like, hey, what's up? Da-da-da-da. And they chatted a little bit and she was like, yeah, we ought to work together, whatever. And I told Tupac, I'm like, yo, because I was like, yo, what up? And he was like, hold on for a minute. And I told him, I just walked on inside of the Hollywood Athletic Club. So when I asked this guy about that situation, right? I'm like, because I was there when they met. And he was like, you could see it in his face. He was like, oh, shit. He was like, oh, shit. He wasn't ready for that. He thought that he was going to come into an interview where he was going to be asked questions, right? And, he was going to be able to just, spew on about that old bullshit that was in that book about a lot of stuff that wasn't true. Listen, the last thing I was trying to do was defend Sean Puffy Combs. Like I said, Sean Puffy Combs is in jail right now for charges that he has to face. We know right now that Tupac's family just hired a lawyer in regards to investigating whether Sean P. Diddy Combs was involved or complicit in the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? So there's no way on God's green earth, and for the most people that know that have been up in this Yeah, absolutely. He couldn't ask no questions. Machiavelli lives. Absolutely. For any of y'all know up in this chat right now, you know how I felt about that. You know that I wasn't like on puppy side. Y'all know that I how I felt about I think he was complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur, right? In regards to the situation that Keith ED talked about, you know. So we already knew that. So most people they were like, oh yeah. But like I said, once again, those were the trolls. What they're mad about is that he got exposed like he did because they bought the book. Most of the people that ran out and bought the book, they wanted to believe what was in the book. Most of the stuff that was in the book was already publicly available, right? Most of the stuff he was talking about, some of the stuff Gene Deal talked about, other stuff that was already publicly available. He took that information, put it in that book, and he knew that Kim Porter, he was like, well, how can I get this, about Kim Porter, right? Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, what y'all don't know is this. You see this picture right here of Kim Porter on this book? You see the picture, right? This picture right here, he couldn't use this picture because you need Kim Porter's family and estate to be able to use this picture. So the first thing that was to go when Amazon got wind of it, they took the picture off, and then it was just a blank screen after that before they took the actual book offline, right? He couldn't use this. So if anybody, and I already knew that going into the interview. See, this is what most people don't know. I already knew that because I understand copyright and I understand the rights to publicity. Look it up. If a person is dead and you might own a picture of them, but you can't put it on the book without getting the family's permission. It's called the right to publicity, right? And they have the first right of refusal for anybody trying to use their family's image or likeness in regards with trying to sell something. I knew that going into the interview. I don't think he knew that I knew that. I didn't even have to ask that question. So when I asked the question about Faith, I'm like, okay, you said that they were going to start a label, and you saying that Kim said that Puffy was mad because Tupac and Biggie were going to start a label, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell was that supposed to happen? Tupac got shot. Tupac is blaming Sean P. Diddy Combs and Biggie for setting him up. So how in the hell are they going to start a label? I knew right then and there that Kim Porter didn't write that book because Kim knew about that. Kim was privy to that information. The whole world was privy to that information. Remember, we had an East and West Coast beef. People couldn't, if you was out here, whether in California or in New York, you know that certain people couldn't come to New York, right? And certain people couldn't come to California. And we seen what happened when the situation happened. May Biggie rest in peace. What happened? So when he said that, I knew automatically, I'm like, this is nothing from Kim Porter. He wrote this book and put Kim Porter's name on it, acting as if it was something that Kim Porter said or wrote. And most people wanting to believe in what they saw with the Cassie video, right? Not to say Kim Porter and Sean Puffy Combs didn't have a tumultuous relationship, because they did. That was well known. That was a well-known fact. We didn't need Chris Todd, aka Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, to come out and try to explain that to us. We knew that already, for the people who knew about the hip hop and who are involved with the culture. So once again, when it came time for me to ask those questions, if you go over there and watch the video on Art of Dialogue, you're gonna see sometimes he was like, I'm done answering that. I don't want to answer that. I'm done. Right? Because he knew that the information that I was coming with was contradictory to what was in that book, and it couldn't have happened. They say men and women lie, but numbers don't. So now, if I say either one of y'all, I say, you know what? The police come to you. Now, and I'm going to give you a hypothetical like this. I let you borrow my car, right? Right? You get pulled over, and there's contraband in the car. And you tell the police, I got this car from DELRAY. You know what I mean? How is it that you're going to prove that it's my car? Answer in the chat. How would it prove that you're gonna show the police that the car belongs to me, right? You're gonna show them the registration to the car. So what I was asking Chris Todd, aka Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, was, can you please show us the hard drive? Because that's the only way you're going to show us that these are Kim Porter's words. Just like that would be the only way that you could show the police officer that that was my car that I loaned you, that you got pulled over in, and there was contraband in the car. You're not trying to go to jail for something that was left in my car and I let you drive it and you got caught with it. So you're going to show them license registration. The registration will prove who car it belongs to. And just in the same net and manner of what that was, all he needed to do was simply show the hard drive. He couldn't do it. And he got frustrated. You know, like I said, go check the interview over there on the Art of Dialogue. Then he said, in one thing, he said basically, well, you know, it's not a diary. It's not a diary. Then if you listen to the interview a little bit longer, he's like, it's like a diary. It's like a diary. I knew he was lying. I knew he was lying. So now the book has been removed off of Amazon. So tell me, where are all of the people who bought the book who was like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's the other? A lot of the stuff in there is lies. I asked them about the Jay-Z situation. Yo, do you have any video evidence and what proof do you have that you saying this Jay-Z thing went on? See, I'm not one of them people that believe Jaguar right. I don't, look, man, I don't subscribe to that. You know what I mean? Like I said, Jaguar Wright said that Christopher Williams gave Puffy fellatio or some crazy stuff like that, and it didn't even happen. Christopher Williams, if anybody knows about the music business, had a record deal way before Puffy was even with Uptown. Right? But she went on to say that Christopher Williams had to give Puffy fellatio for a record deal and all this crazy stuff. It simply wasn't true. They're just yelling out anything, you know? And so now I go back to that once again. So this guy, Chris Todd, he was basically following along with the same thing he see us do and felt like, well, if they can do it, I can get away with it too, right? But let me write a book and then let me put it out and let me say that, you know, these are Kim Porter's words, and then let me tell them somebody came to me and they gave me the hard drive and blah, blah, blah. Let's be clear. If you got a hard drive that belonged to somebody else and that person didn't give it to you, that's considered stolen property. Can't nobody else, did nobody in nobody's family, anybody in hip hop give him no hard drive with no Kim Porter's information, man? They didn't. They simply didn't. If that were the case, listen to me, y'all. I want you to understand. If that were the case, couldn't you, if you had a chance, out of all of the books that were on Amazon, right? He had what they were saying was a bestseller out of all of the books. You talk about for major publishers like Simon and Schuster, Roadhouse Books, all of these publishers, all of the publishers, him as an independent publisher had the best-selling book. And to keep that book on Amazon, keep selling, all he had to do was go to show Amazon the actual the hard drive to show that it was actually Kimberly Porter's hard drive. He couldn't do it. You mean to tell me he let a bestseller go like that? Come on, y'all. You talking about dropping the bag because you don't have what you say you have as evidence, right? I knew it wasn't true. I knew it wasn't true. And so for all of the people who bought the book, we know what Puffy is alleged to have done. We seen the Cassie tape. We know about all of the other NDAs that people that were assaulted by him, they signed and he paid them money. See, we know all about all of that. But even right now, he was saying, hey, there's also videos on the hard drive too. What videos? There's videos on it. What are you talking about? Well, I can't show the hard drive because the video's on there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got a hard drive and you stick it in your computer, you can open up one file with somebody else not seeing all of the other files that are on the hard drive. That was another way that I knew he was lying. You understand what I'm saying? So when I asked him about the Tupac situation, then I asked him about and it was one part also, we're going to release this part. There's a part also, y'all got to see this part, where he talks about a picture with J-Lo, P. Diddy, and J-Lo, P. Diddy, and Kim Porter. And I was like, yo, there ain't no picture that exists with Kim Porter, J-Lo, and P. Diddy. Yes, it is. I'll send it to you, he said to me, right? So I had our videographer, right? I had him. I'm like, yo, look that up right now. So I fact checked him right then and there. Dude, there was never, and there's never have been a picture of Kim Porter, P. Diddy, and Jennifer Lopez together. Period, point blank. And when I told him that, I said, it doesn't exist. He was like, I don't care. I don't care. Wow. Now he starts to get mad, right? Because now he's trying to lie in my face, and now not thinking that I'm going to go and I can send my man right then and there to fact check it. You know, if you go on Google and you type in, you know, you looking for a picture of somebody, it's easy to find. It's not that hard to find. He couldn't do it. He couldn't deliver. And so at the end of the interview, he begins to say to me, you know, yeah, you're good. You should have been a lawyer. You should have been this. Oh, man, you're good. You're asking the right questions. He said, but you're not better than me, though. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And my thing was to be professional. Not to, because I'm doing it. Like I said, I'm getting him to reveal or not reveal what he has. So from my angle and how I approached it, it was working. I didn't come in there to be like, oh, you know, so, you know, asking them these softball questions and trying to just, you know, go behind what everybody else was thinking and was doing. I needed to know what he had, because right now is a pivotal time. And if anybody could come into the culture and hip hop culture or deal with any of us like that and say we did something that we didn't do, then we doomed. As a culture, we doomed. See, it's one thing for somebody to have had really done something. You understand what I'm saying? But it's another thing for somebody to come and make up a whole bunch of lies and then put it on a dead person. A dead person in Kim Porter that this guy never knew and never met in his life. This is Kim talking. This is Kim talking. No, it's not. You wrote this book. And you tried to act like Kim Porter or somebody that was affiliated or associated with Kim Porter gave you a hard drive that you cannot show. And not only could you not show us, but you couldn't show Amazon to keep your book at the top of the bestseller list. All he had to do was show Amazon the hard drive, and the book would still be on Amazon, man. And he could potentially be making millions of dollars because he could back up what he was saying. And all of it would have been, you know, basically for the most part legal, other than having this picture, like I said, because he didn't get in touch with Kim Porter's family to use the picture on a book for use for selling something, right? He could license the picture from whoever owned it, but he couldn't put it on a book to sell it because he would need the rights to publicity to do that. And the only way you can get that is through Kim Porter's heirs, her relatives. And he did not reach out to them. Why didn't he do that? You know why he didn't do it? Because he didn't get no hard drive from Kim Porter or nobody affiliated with her. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And so, like I said, stay tuned because we're going to drop some individual parts so y'all can really get it. Because like I said, the interview is 2 hours long. I think a lot of you guys for going over there really checking it out, really digesting the information. So now we bring it about in a roundabout circle. So I'm asking the guy, I said, you know, he said, oh, you talking about the he put in the book, listen to this. He put in the book about the quad shooting, right? I didn't see anything about Las Vegas. He put in the book about the quad studio shooting. And then when I asked him about that, I was like, he said, yeah, when I didn't believe that they told Tupac to come up. It was I know a lot about that. I know a lot about that, you know. And when he said that Puffy was mad at Biggie because Biggie and Tupac was going to start a label, most of us in the hip-hop community know that when Tupac went to the studio that night, that was the reason why Little Seasoning was up there. Tupac was going to record with Little Sean, but Little Seasoning was in a different studio doing a Junior Mafia session. So Biggie and them had already started Unentertainment with Big Un in them. So how in the hell is Biggie gonna start a label with Tupac? Kim Porter didn't say that. That was some shit he came up with, right? And he thought that when he came to do the interview on the Art of Dialogue, he was dealing with somebody that did not know. And once I started asking the questions that would contradict what he had put in that book, he was done. It was a wrap. And like I said, more importantly, we wanted him to walk out. We was gonna let him do whatever he wanted to do. He could have walked out of the interview, right? That would have only made him look worse. Like I said, once again, what I said, and like I said, I appreciate him for sitting down and asking the tough questions, answering the tough questions. But like I said, if you putting things in the book and I ask you about those things that you putting in the book, and then you can't answer it, like I said to Jay-Z, Will Smith, do you have any video with Jay-Z, Will Smith, Diddy, or anybody else involved in any kind of nefarious activity? Well, there's tapes. Well, what have you seen them? Oh, I can't say that. What you mean you can't say it? You can say what you seen. You don't have to show it to me. But when he said that he couldn't say it, once again, I knew at that particular time that he was lying. Like, yeah, I could say easily, yeah, I seen the tapes, man. I can't show them to you, but I seen the tapes. And once again, credibility is everything. And let me tell you this, most people don't know, but the reason why I seen this as a comment on the video, and I thought about it because I didn't think about it at the time. The reason why he didn't use his real name, on this book, on this fake book, right? Kim's Lost Words. The reason why he didn't use his real name is supposed to be by Kimberly A. Porter, not for Kimberly A. Porter. See, his ego was so big, he thought that he was doing something for Kimberly Porter. But if it's her words, then it's by Kimberly A. Porter, right? Then he scratched off the Millwood name. You know why he scratched it off? You know why he scratched it off and he didn't put his real name? Because, see, he had put other books out there. He had some stuff about O.J. Simpson and a few other things that he had put out there, right? So when he did that, when he put those books out there, if he would have put Chris Todd, it would have been easy for people to look up his name when they were looking at the book, right? To see that, oh, this guy, he's a white guy. And I don't have nothing wrong with that. I don't have nothing against that, right? But he's a white guy, right? And he put out this book about OJ, and then you would begin to know that he had a bunch of failures or books that weren't successful, right? And now he's coming with this. This is a pamphlet. This ain't no book. This is a pamphlet. Look. This is a pamphlet. You understand what I'm saying? Look, a journey for justice from the other side. Are you kidding me? And so we are so gullible sometimes in how we like to receive information. It's like we bask in other people's downfall or whatever have you. Like, yo, pause for a minute. Think about what you're about to do. Critical thinking is something that I like to inspire people to do. You know what I mean? Think critically. So now, the book is off the shelves. You can't buy it nowhere else. The money was made. People were asking for refunds and all of that thing. Some Amazon was actually giving refunds and telling you can keep the book. They were granting people their refunds and telling them, yo, you can keep the book. Because like I said, once again, it wasn't true. Kim Porter, and I know once again, when you make accusations like that and you can't back it up, we all know that that's defamation. And a lot of times people don't even have time. Most people are like, well, why didn't nobody sue and all of this? A lot of people don't have time to be playing games with people, like, and giving the situation more fuel than it really needs and all of those things. It's a waste of time sometimes. You know what I mean? But like I said, once again, we've seen no videos with none of the people he was talking about in the book. They were all accusations. I asked him about the Kimberly Porter. Do you have any video of Kimberly Porter with any of the people that you said that she was dealing with and all of these threesomes and anything like that. He couldn't show it. He couldn't show it. And every time that I, got to a point where I was asking him something that contradicted what was in the book, he was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I already answered that. We already answered that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to press him anymore because I already know if anything, if I'm bringing you something for somebody else, I'm not that passionate about, I'm not getting mad with you. I'm just going to simply tell you what, this is what the person left behind. And I can show you the hard drive and the metadata. Another thing, the metadata. When you save something on a hard drive, when you go back and you look at it, if you look at the information that's actually inside of what you save, it always has a date, usually has a time, right? That specific file right there, right? All we wanted to see was the metadata. We didn't even have to see what was on the thing. I just need to see the dates that she saved this stuff on her computer for him to be able to see it, to allegedly put it in some kind of book. That's why I was always saying, the alleged memoir, because it was alleged. It wasn't nothing factual about that. He couldn't prove nothing. He told Rolling Stone the same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so once again, when we talk about that, that's what I was talking about. Yo, it was a pamphlet, right? He said this was the copy that he had before it went to print. He was like, here, I'll give it, you can give it I'll give it to you for a souvenir. Like I said, I didn't really need no souvenir. And no, people were like, you didn't thank him for the book. No, I thanked him behind the scenes. I didn't have to thank him on camera, because when I got on camera, it was lights, camera, action. It was time to handle business. It wasn't time to play no favorites. I want to get down to business and understand what it is that you have in all of this book that you putting out, the information that you have in this book. It's a put up or shut up moment. You remember when they was trying to come at me about the Tupac songs? What did I do? I went directly to the contract. Don't play with me. You know what I mean? And see, they trying to talk. No. See, documentation beats conversation any day. And like I said, once again, if Chris Todd, a.k.a. Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, would have put up that hard drive, he would have still had an Amazon bestseller. And it probably would have sold even more. Because he was telling Mark Lamont Hill, he was telling Mark Lamont Hill, oh yeah, the book's going to do this. And then when the trial starts, the book's going to sell even more. Go look at that interview over there with Mark Lamont Hill and listen to what he was saying. Oh, it's going to make $5 million. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. The book is off of Amazon now. And I wouldn't say partially because of what, me and the Art of Dialogue did. But like I said, we just was trying to get to the bottom of it. And he reached out to Art of Dialogue. Let's be clear. It wasn't like the Art of Dialogue reached out to him. He reached out to the Art of Dialogue. So when we talking about that, that's what everybody need to know. And I'm going to put it up on the top. This book right here was a fraud. It was a fraud. And ain't nothing in it true. Only thing we gonna know that's true is what we seen. We seen the Cassie tape. We know that's true, right? All of the other stuff that remains to be seen that's gonna come out, when this trial and everything. Why do you think that Tupac's family just hired a lawyer, a high-powered lawyer, to investigate, right? To see whether there's any leaks. Leads or anything that can help them, take some information to a district attorney or to a grand jury to be able to have Sean P. Diddy Combs also indicted for being complicit in the murder of Tupac Shakur. We know what Keefe D already said. We know what he told Greg Kading and them. Everybody was like, oh, no, man, Keefe D lying and da-da-da-da-da. You have to go back over the relationship, right? Did Keefe D, and this is another thing, you contrast two things. Did the guy Chris Todd know Kim Porter? No. Did Keefe D know Puffy? Yes. Was Keefe D at the Peterson on the night that Biggie was killed? Yes. By his own admission, he said this. Was Keefe D at the celebrity basketball game? Yes. Was Keefe D in Las Vegas according to him and according to new evidence that has been found by the Las Vegas Police Department? Yes. Right? So this is how you investigate something. And this guy, Chris Todd, aka Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, was basically saying that, yo, I'm an investigator and I'm this and I'm that. But evidently he wasn't that good of an investigator, because he put stuff in this book about Biggie and Tupac that if he would have known better, he wouldn't have put it in there, because he would have known that it didn't match up to real world events. The timeline just didn't match up to real world events. So you had the people, they were like, oh man, that was a horrible interview. No, it wasn't. It just wasn't what you expected. They expected it to still ride out, and you go, so the Will Smith thing, and there's a lot of, there's other information that's going to come out. But he was basically suggesting, once again, what he was doing was he was suggesting that he had more information, and this is how he came with it. He came with it like this, sent the email, and he was like, I have exclusive information that I'm going to give you guys that I haven't told anybody. So he was trying to sucker people in to giving him press for the book. I knew that. I know the old game. You know what I mean? So okay. Okay. So if that's what he wants, okay, boom, I'm gonna do the interview. So I go and do the interview. But he thinking that it's gonna be something that where he gonna be able to promote the book. Nah, I need to know what's going on. Then once I see what I need to see, then okay, be like, yeah, man, he got something, he got some real stuff here, right? He couldn't pass the smell test, man. He couldn't pass the taste test, man. He couldn't pass the feel test, man. At the end of the day, I don't know if he think that from our community, that we a bunch of dumb people, a dumb Negroes or whatever. Like I said, but I come with my A game. You know what I mean? And then it was one statement that he made. If y'all seen the post that 50 Cent posted, right? 50 Cent posted the post and on his Instagram. And 50 Cent was like, yo, y'all know I don't fuck with Diddy, but I don't believe nothing that's coming out of this fool's mouth. Talking about Chris Todd, aka Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, right? But the clip that 50 Cent had posted, basically, I had asked him about would he reveal his sources, and he was like, no. According to the California Shield law and all of this other stuff that didn't really pertain to him revealing any kind of sources, that had nothing to do with that. He was just yelling out some stuff, thinking that we didn't understand what it was, right? And he was like, no. I said, so I'm gonna ask the question again, and I had to ask her because see, he was obfuscating. See, most people didn't get that. He was obfuscating it, and they don't know. If they don't know the information, they don't know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. So I was like, you know what? Well, stick with the question, because he would try to get me off and, get me to that little shiny little object. I wasn't going for it. So my thing is, no, let's come back to the question again that I just asked you. Do you have any information in regards to what it is about Jay-Z and have you seen it? Well, no comment. What you mean, no comment? You put it in the book. If you put it in the book, then you had to, those are Kim's words. No, they're not. He passing it off on a dead black woman. He ought to be ashamed of himself. But guess what? He had no shame. He was a narcissist. I picked that up too. I picked up the fidgeting, the playing with his shoes. You know what I mean? I picked up when he was swallowing his Adam's apple. I picked up all of that. I knew what time it was. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Because when you're telling the truth, you relax. There's no need to be nervous. There's no need to be none of that. You know what I mean? Because you got what it is that backs up what you're saying. Yeah, but like I said, Tone, it wouldn't even matter if they filed a lawsuit. Like I say, at the end of the day, now you got to go worry about what he got and all of that. That doesn't even matter. My thing is, guess what? At the end of the day, people now know the truth. But like, you still got people home. They was hoping, man. Listen, man, they was hoping, man, that this book was the truth. It wasn't the truth. It was a fraud. And Amazon picked up on that, and therefore they took it off. And like I said, once again, for the people who don't know, it was supposed to be by Kim Porter, right? Not for Kim Porter. He didn't write this for Kim Porter. See, once again, when the person ego's in the way, right? He put for Kim Porter. No, it's not. It's supposed to be by Kim Porter if you're saying that it's Kim Porter's words, right or wrong, right? And it's supposed to be forwarded by Chris Todd, not no fake black person, no non-existent black person by the name of Jamal T for Tupac Millwood. You know, then it started to make me think other things. I was like, well, you know, he's saying somebody, you know, when P. Diddy would read the book, he would know automatically that it's that Tupac is sending a message from the grave. What? Tupac is sending a message from the grave? What are you talking about? You understand what I'm saying? This ain't got nothing to do with no Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur is resting in peace. This book ain't got nothing to do with him. He don't even know it exists. Once again, he was reaching. And he was trying to use Tupac's name to try to galvanize attention and publicity to sell this bogus book. That's why I asked him that question. So do you think that you making all of these assertions about celebrities is something that you're using to attract attention for the book? He was like, pause. Well, it could be seen like that. No, that's what you were doing. That's what he was doing. Once again, like I said, he didn't know anything about the situation involving, you know, the East and West Coast. And I told him, I'm like, hey, you know, another thing, when Kim Porter in the Essence magazine article, right? The article that I read to him in the interview, Kim Porter in the Essence magazine article stated specifically, right, that her and P. Diddy started dating in late 1994. And one of the first dates that they really authentically had when they started seeing each other, it was at this party, this Christmas party, right? She said that specifically. And so when I brung that up to him, Chris Todd, aka Jamal T for Tupac Millwood, right? He said, oh, that was 30 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on. Aren't some of the things that you talking about in this alleged book that Kim Porter wrote from a hard drive that somebody gave you, ain't that from like 30 years ago? You know, the conversation about J-Lo, ain't that like 30 years ago, 20 some odd years ago, right? So once again, he was trying to disparage what I was trying to bring to him. But then he said, well, I don't care what Kim says. In the Essence, listen to me. In the Essence magazine article, Kim actually spoke about when her and Sean Combs started the date, among other things. When I brung that to his attention, he knew that it didn't coincide with what he was trying to say in the book. So now he got offended. And he didn't want to talk about that. He was like, well, I don't care what Kim Porter said 30 years ago. But you want us to believe that we should believe you and what you saying Kim Porter said in some hard drive that we ain't never seen before? It was the most hypocritical part of the interview. I was like, oh, this guy's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. He's the type of dude that he tells unprovoked lies. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And so when he said that and I showed him the picture with the date, I said the wrong date on purpose. I was like, the 14th. He was like, no, it's the 31st. And the reason why I did that is to get him to say the date so he could look, so it could resonate within his conscience. And then once I said it, and then at the end, I told him, I said, you know, remember I showed you the picture earlier and I got that date wrong. I said the 14th, but it really said the 31st. He was like, yeah. He's like, I said, yeah. I said, and you told me that I had made a mistake. And I was like, yeah. And I agreed to the mistake that I made, right? He said, no, but I thought you was talking about another picture. What other picture? You had the picture in your hand. What other picture could I be talking about? I did that for a reason. because what he was telling me is that he couldn't make a mistake, right? But what I was telling him is that I could. And so that's when I knew he was a narcissist. I knew it right. I was like, okay, I know who I'm dealing with now. This is the type of person where you know, they ain't never wrong. They ain't never going, they know everything. They ain't never wrong. And if you tell them that they're wrong, they're going to tell you how it's something that you did that was wrong in order for them to be right. I got it. So when you go and you look at the interview on the Art of Dialogue, sit down and look at what I did. And look at what I did. From the very first question, right? Why would you use a black man's name, a predominantly black man's name, on this book? Right? Why would you use Jamal T. Millwood? The reason why he used Jamal T. Millwood was because Jamal is a black name. So there wouldn't be no red flags as to, oh, Jamal, that must be somebody Kim knew. You get it? In the association, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that must be somebody that Kim knew. You know what I'm saying? But then you go look up Jamal T. Millwood. Now if you look it up, it's associated with this book. But if you look it up before, you know, the publicity started to roll, then you didn't see anything. It was nothing. I'm like, well, who's this Jamal T. Millwood? And has he written any other books or collaborated with anybody else? And nothing. Then comes up Chris Todd. Then to find out it's a Caucasian guy. I'm like, oh, wow. And then to understand the reason why he wouldn't put his own name, and the reason was because he had put out other books. And if he put his name on this book, Chris Todd, you would have been able to look up and see that, oh, this ain't no book from no Kim Porter. This is a white dude. What he know about Kim Porter, right? Then now he would have to sit down and explain, like he did to me, what the truth was. And I could care less if he was white, black, blue, green, purple, or yellow. It wouldn't have mattered to me. All I wanted to know was the truth. Yo, can we see the hard drive? Oh no, I can't see it. It's confidential. It's you know, CIA-74688 rated under the ground in the corner over there, in the far, far east corner of the world. I can't get to it right now. Yeah, okay. Whatever you say. You know what I mean? So once again, let's stop being, you know, we got to really look at what's really going on, man, when it comes time to, you know, like I said, and I thank all of the people for the support. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. A battle axe. Yes, sir. It wasn't even that because I've been in a deposition before. You know what I mean? I've been in a deposition with a lawyer asking you questions. So I knew what to do. I'm like, oh, okay. This is what okay. And I didn't approach it like a deposition, but I just wanted to ask him certain questions, right? Where he would be able to answer it and put up or shut up. Because in a deposition, the lawyer's trying to find out what you know, if you have a case, and if you do, and in the deposition, they'll go back and they'll talk to the party that they're representing or whatever and say, hey, you know what? I really don't think we can win this case. I think we should just go ahead and settle. You know what I mean? That's usually what happens, right? But when the Art of Dialogue, like I said myself, decided to move forward, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, it's like, look, it's not no whole bunch of softball questions. We coming in there with the A game, you know? Like Art has a way that he does what he does, and it works. You know what I mean? I have a style and the way that I do things, and it works. Y'all seen the Billy Garland interview? Y'all seen the Lisa St. Crooks interview? Both of those interviews are damn near 1 million views. The whole entire video. You understand what I'm saying? Along with the parts, you know. So there's different styles and different ways that I'm gonna come about depending on the guest. You know, you're not gonna approach the same. It's like when you're a fighter. You know, you study the person that you about to go and interview. You look at some of the stuff that they've done before. So when you go to approach it, right, you know how to deal with that person. You know their demeanor, right? I watched the Lamont Mark Hill interview that he did, and I see he was kind of abrasive. You know what I mean? You know, I seen he was kind of, you know, the type of person that would obfuscate and try to avoid certain things. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. I studied him before I went in there, so I knew what to do. Like I said, for all of the people that really don't understand that, that's your fault. You know, that's why I guess a lot of times we miss out on a lot of shit because we don't study enough. We don't study enough. We just operating off the cuff, off the whim, you know. And so that's basically it. But yeah, with the Tupac thing with the family lawyer, yeah, this is something that I thought in the beginning of what that was something that was more viable, or something that could get a little bit more teeth, involving the fact that Keefe D was basically saying what he said. A lot of people, you know what I mean? People were like, oh man, Keefe D lying. Like, nah. When Keefe D first told Greg Kading and that, he told him that under a proffer agreement. And when I read the prof, yeah, absolutely. What's that? J33P PFYN4TIK. Absolutely. Miss Coffee. Why not? Pitbull Pat was good. Battle Axe. Nandy Johnston. What's happening? Carla Shepard. I always appreciate all of y'all coming through, man. Like I said, more importantly, yeah, absolutely. JJ, what's good? Like I said, once again, so we've been receiving. Like I said, for the most part, the people who get it, they know. And I'm thinking, that they trying to send the bots with the negative comments, man. We on to that too. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. The bots with the negative comments, it's not gonna work. We up on that. It's not gonna work. If anything, guess what? You only helping the video do it. Keep sending them. We appreciate it. We appreciate it because we know what we did. And like I said, the book is down now. You know what I mean? And like I said, so at the end of the day, that's what it is. But so what you guys think about y'all think that we gonna get something out of this this Tupac lawyer, family lawyer investigating P. Diddy and for the involvement of Tupac's death? Aside of what's happening. Love you too. Hey Asada, how you doing? But like I said, the situation involving P. Diddy, when you talk about that, it's look, man. Cassie said, well, I told y'all, Cassie said it in the lawsuit about them wanting to go get at Suge. The guy, what's his name? Roger Bonds. He told a story on Vlad about Puffy riding up in the Cadillac over to Mel's Diner, and when one of Biggie's homeboys that had gotten to it, and he seen Suge or something like that at Mel's Diner, and they was talking about, yeah, let's get the guns in let's handle it right here. And the dude Roger Bonds, who was security at that time, said that, yo, no, let's not handle it right here, and so on and so forth. So once again, at the end of the day, yeah, this is gonna, and like I said, whatever the lawyer finds, the lawyer basically passes off to the prosecutor. And they want Diddy so bad, for anything at this particular point, based on the fact that he was trying to tamper with witnesses. They're saying the Cassie video. But let me explain this, because I think a lot of people missed this one. Most people, like I said, they've been running with this one, and I want you to understand something. The young lady the other day that the lawyers wanted to get off the case with her, right? I think it was Adriana. I forgot her last name, but the lawyers saying they don't want nothing to do with her case no more, right? Based on the fact that she was uncooperative and she was basically sabotaging the case. The lawyers, she had some kind of case against Puffy and so on and so forth from 2020. I mean, 2000, the year 2000 or something like that, 24 years ago, you know? And so the lawyers basically submitted a motion to the judge, say, hey, you know what? We want to get off this case. That's one person, right? Because and most people say what they want, but when a lawyer does that, they don't believe what you're saying, if you will, right? So now, that's one person. Sean Puffy Combs' lawyers spoke out, was like, yeah, she fabricated the story. She went and filed a police report 20 some odd years later as to something that allegedly happened that didn't happen, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you this, and let me be clear. I'm not speaking to Sean Puffy Combs' innocence or guilt in anything. Whatever is found when he's charged, yo, like he's been charged. Now they're gonna do what they're gonna do, right? All I'm saying is this: if you could put in the chat, do me a favor. I want you to understand this, and I want y'all to understand something, because there's a lot of things that we don't see, a lot of moving parts we don't see. I want to believe everything that's in the indictment, but guess what? Tell me one person other than Cassie that they have named involving that indictment that Sean Puffy Combs is charged with sex trafficking or any of the other things that they've alleged that he's did. If you could name one person in the chat, name one person that he did that to. J33 PFY N4 TIK. Do me if I just, all I want you to do is to put in the chat, name one person that's involved with that indictment that Sean Puffy Combs is alleged to have sex trafficked and all of this other stuff. Because I mean, if you know something that I don't know, please tell me. Because I'm just telling you, I don't know. I haven't seen anything as of yet. Name somebody, JJ. Listen to me now, Miss Coffee. You're absolutely right, Miss Coffee. Listen to what I'm about to tell you, though. I want you to listen to me with a third eye. I mean, look at me with a third eye and listen with a third ear. Check this out. I want you to check this out. So now, you can charge anybody with anything, right? It's not charging them, it's being able to prove it. I see now people are putting out these videos from parties. I seen one with Sanaa Lathan on it, and Puffy, and what's the other light skinned dude named it? He be helping out French Montana, right? And I seen them, they was all look like they was having a party, having fun at a party, right? People are now trying to take these average party, regular party videos and trying to associate them with something else nefarious that they don't represent. We have to be careful about that. You can go on YouTube right now and look at videos at Puffy's house. You see Jay-Z, you see Chris Brown, you see all of these people, right, at these parties. When the statement and the phrase was coined, freak offs, that was coined by Cassie, right? That statement, that phrase was coined by Cassie. Listen to me very carefully. People took that freak off statement and was like, yo, he be doing freak offs, he be doing this, he be doing that. Remember the Meek Mill thing? They were like, yeah, Meek Mill. And then they came out with some fake audio of allegedly that was Meek Mill and Puffy doing something, crazy or whatever, right? Never proven to be what that was supposed to be, right? Listen to me. Listen real carefully. I know people, because of what y'all seen them do to Cassie, like I said, I think that should have been handled when it went down. I think it should have been handled I think Cassie should have went to the police and had his ass locked up, period. That's what I think. That didn't happen. She stayed for 2 more years for whatever reason. For whatever reason, she felt like she needed to stay or wanted to stay, whatever. That's her business, right? We are where we are at this particular time. Listen, I just want somebody to tell me one person under this indictment that they have that has been sex trafficked by Sean P. Diddy Combs. They said they got 50 witnesses. They got 50 whatever. I don't know. We have not seen any of those people or a list of anybody. And so from there, I'd like to reserve the right to, like, until I see what's going on, show me what's going on. Because the young lady the other day, in which the lawyers wanted to get off her case, evidently they had a problem not only with her, but with her and her credibility. And from what I understand, is she was asking for Cassie money. She wanted $30 million. You understand what I'm saying? This young lady did not have a personal, from what we understand, she did not have a relationship like Cassie did with Sean P. Diddy Combs for 10 years. She wanted Cassie type money. She wanted $30 million. And the lawyers was like, no, you this is 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And they wanted to try to help her in proceeding with the case, right? But she didn't want to listen to it. Right? Listen, the guy from Texas that talks about 120 victims has a hotline. Listen to me, y'all. He has a hotline. If you, that's tantamount to being an ambulance chaser, man. That's like the drug. Man, you know how the drug commercials come on TV, be like, if you've taken this drug, please call this number right now. You may have compensation. You won't be you won't have to pay for your lawyer if we don't win. That's what that's tantamount to. He's saying 120 people, right? I'm not doubting anything that he says, but he did not name one victim. He did not name anybody. They had a guy come out, what was that, earlier today, who was the son of a photographer. And he was a little young boy back in the day. And Puffy took a picture with him. And Puffy had his hands like right on his stomach, like, hey, you know, what up, what's happening, whatever. You know what I mean? Wasn't nothing nefarious or nothing like that. They're now trying to make that look like something. He was like, oh yeah, he's trying to touch me. Like, are you kidding me, man? Your father sat there and took the picture. If your father was the photographer at the party, right? He was like, yeah, I seen marijuana smoking. I seen this, I seen that. And he was like 11, 10, something like that. You can't blame Diddy for you being at the party seeing all of this grown folk stuff. You blame your daddy. He was the photographer. Evidently, his father probably couldn't afford a babysitter that day. So he brought his son to work with him. But these are the things that are popping up. Like I said, I'm not defending Diddy. I just have not seen any victims other than Cassie, whom it seems like this whole indictment is based on. When you read it, right? That's who the indictment is based on. It's based on Cassie. And if she's going to be the one that's going to come and testify, I understand that, right? But all of these other, this freak off and this, that, and the other, and I'm not denying that he might not have had parties like that, because he spoke, you know, about having parties like that. Did he spoke about parties like that? He spoke on it on the Conan O'Brien. I actually did a video about that, right? So I'm not denying that, but that right there would be something that would be consensual amongst adults. Listen to this. Just listen to it. And like I said, once again, you gotta be clear, man. Remember a few months ago, was it MTV? He had his son, them, they had on the red, they was dancing, they was giving them a lifetime achievement award and all of that, right? Everything was all good. There were no accusations, there was no anything until Cassie dropped that lawsuit. When Cassie dropped that lawsuit, things began to change. And when he came out with the statement talking crazy and she dropped the lawsuit, he settled it in less than 24 hours. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Please pay attention. When they were on stage, when he had that little award show and his kids was on stage, he was dressed in all that red and all of that stuff like that. Everything was all good. Everything was all good. They gave him his own, basically his own special, you know, celebrating, you know, Bad Boy and all of the years of, you know, so on and so forth from that perspective, right? Everything was all good. There was not one accusation. So much so, Little Rod, everybody, everything was all good. It was not until Cassie dropped that civil case on him and he settled in 24 hours that shit went downhill. And now you got a lawyer in Texas. I don't remember I don't remember hearing about no Puffy throwing no white parties in Texas. It was usually California or Florida or New York, right? I don't, you know, the Hamptons, it was the Hamptons, you know, California and Miami. You know what I mean? I don't remember him throwing nothing in Texas. I don't know how the lawyer in Texas got involved. You know what I mean? But he got a hotline, you know. And if if you went to the party and if you went to the party and you could, man, people could say anything, man. People could say anything. Like I said, once again, Cassie was enough for me. Like Miss Coffee, what you said, Cassie was enough for me. You know what I mean? I didn't really have to. I was like, okay, he, you know, this what he's capable of doing, all of the Brother Love and Mr. Love and all of that. And then when I seen the video of him in Hollywood dressed as the Joker, and he got into it with the other actor dude and was scraping the plastic little gun on the ground. Was like, you know who you fucking with? You know, I'll bust your ass and da 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 da. I'm like, oh, he that guy. You know what I mean? You know, from that perspective. And I can understand having all of the money, having all of the power, having all of the yes men, you know what I mean? And people hanging around you, and I get all of that. So like I said, Cassie was enough for me. I didn't really, you know, it didn't really need to be, you know, all of this other stuff and, you know, this racketeering and he was doing all of this because Cassie basically said that, yo, what he liked watching me get hit by other dudes while he watched and do whatever he did and so on and so forth. And that was the thing for him, right? I didn't hear when she said that she was pertaining to her and him and other individuals. It wasn't like it was this big thing where he was, you know what I mean, making people do this and do that. It was basically relating to her. So now people took the freak off thing and they started to run with it. They running with it. It's like, oh man. So like I said, we're gonna see what happens, man, from here on out, you know, if you will. You know, but like I said, you know, that was the in dealing with this book right here. It's all full circle. You know what I mean? It was a moment to try to capitalize. This book was fake. Everything in it's fake. It's not real. You know, there was no hard drive. There never was. Amazon pulled it off. You know, people still want it to be something that it's not. It was supposed to be see, it's by and the name scratched out. It was supposed to be by Kim A. Porter, right? And it was supposed to be forwarded by Chris Todd, but he didn't put his name. He chose to put a non-existent black person name on there to try to sell a book, to try to dupe us, because he knows that once we see, you know, us, you know, like, who's Chris Todd? Who is this guy? And once we'd have known that he was a white dude who had put out these other little pamphlets, this is a pamphlet. This is not a book. It's a pamphlet, right? Once he's seen that we saw that he did the same thing with other people, we would have been on to the game and it wouldn't have sold no copies. It's just that simple. Yeah, it's just that simple. Just that simple. And like I said, you've seen him on no other channels. Nobody else is wanting to, and the 15 minutes is over in relation to this. The 15 minutes is over. Like I said, and the timing was impeccable because when we dropped the interview over on the Art of Dialogue, like I said, if you haven't seen it, go over there, check it out. When we dropped the interview, it was 2 hours before Amazon actually took the book down. And so there you have it. Like I said, but this Tupac family attorney, them hiring this family attorney, this is gonna get interesting. Like I said, it's gonna get interesting. It's gonna get real. And they hired what would be tantamount to a high-powered attorney. You know what I mean? And any kind of investigation, best believe they're gonna go talk to Keefe D. Best believe they're gonna go talk to Greg Kading. You know what I mean? You know, and basically see what's what with that, and look at the evidence, look at the proffer agreement, look at the statement, listen to the statement that he gave. I believe that they can build a case against P. Diddy if Keefe D testify. If Keefe D decides to testify, yeah, it's a wrap, because now you're getting into somebody who, and if they offer Keefe D a deal to testify, oh yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. If he takes a plea in that case and agreeing to testify against Sean P. Diddy Combs about what happened at Greenblatt's in Hollywood, about the whole situation in which he told Greg Kading them in the beginning when they did the proffer agreement, then yeah, I think they have a plausible case. He said Keefe D, like, damn. What's up, Miss Brown Roney, Miss Coffee, Tone, Ross McCormick, Hi Goree. Who else up in here, man? Carla Shepard, always in the building. Yeah, Chris Todd has done it. I mean, that like I said, once again, he had his, and the sad part about it is if he would have did his research, it probably would have lasted a little bit longer, but he wanted to be salacious. He wanted to drop, you know, high-powered names, because he knew if he dropped high-powered names, that people, it would get people to look at the book talking about Jay-Z this and Jay-Z that. And like I said, people making a bunch of accusations. But like I said, that's why I asked you guys to bring you guys up on it, because we see stuff in the media every day, right? But like I said, the media is sensationalized. The same people that build you up will tear you down, right? And so, like I said, it's like the same thing that'll make you laugh will make you cry, you know, that old saying, right? And so that's why I asked you guys. Thank you, Ross McCormick, appreciate you. That's why I asked you guys, yo, tell me one person that they have named that Puffy has sex trafficked. I understand the Cassie situation, right? But that was their relationship, and she's saying like some of the stuff that he did went against their relationship. So I understand what she's saying, and like I said, for the most part, I believe her. Looking at that tape, I believe what Cassie is saying. But we, you know what I mean. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. We all seen what happened. You know what I mean, and it's more plausible than not. You know, but then after that, they're trying to this racketeering thing and all of this other stuff, and like I said, I would hope that they're not trying to use Cassie to tell that whole story, because like I said, there's a lot of other stories out there, like the guy Roger Bond, who went on Vlad and was talking about how things would go down, and they would get fighting and it would be volatile and so on and so forth. How they would use drugs, and she would go back and tell Puffy what happened when she got high or whatever. You know what I mean? This is what the guy Roger Bond was saying over there on Vlad. So this is going to get real interesting, man. It's going to get real interesting. And we know Puffy just hired 2 more lawyers, 2 more high-powered attorneys. Like I said, most of the people, when we watched the O.J. Simpson case, right, we was like, yeah, people's like, he did it, he did it, he did it. Some people was like, nah, he didn't do it, he didn't do it. People were mixed, right? But once you got in the courtroom, and people had their own opinion, but once you got in that courtroom and you seen Johnny Cochran, you seen Barry Scheck, you seen F. Lee Bailey, you seen Robert Shapiro, you seen these high-powered attorneys and these investigators get down to business, it's a whole different ball game when you get up on that stand. One of these, if they saying they got all of these people and they get up on that stand and you being cross-examined by these high-powered attorneys, you better be right. The prosecution better have you right, because if you're not right, they're gonna make you look crazy. And so, like I said, once again, this is the thing that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about where you want to demonize somebody, where somebody wants to just say something about somebody because they want to say that. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the actual getting down to business when we get into a courtroom and we saying, hey, okay, is this person's word? They're saying this. And then they send the investigators that, the defense has to go out and investigate who this person is. And then they start to bring your background up on you. Well, weren't you were arrested for grand larceny and shoplifting when you were 18, correct? And what happened with that? You know what I mean? They be bringing back old shit. You be like, what? Then the prosecution be like, objection, Your Honor. And they talking about goes in to show motive. Man, look, it just gets tricky. It gets real tricky. So, like I said, that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see what kind of evidence they have, and who are the people that they're saying, that allege that this stuff happened. I'm not even thinking about that 120 people, man. That's not even applicable. Dude, put up a hotline. Call the hotline. If you thought that you were, at a Puffy's party and you weren't, you know what I mean? Like, you was at Puffy party, dude, people was begging to be at Puffy's party. They were mad because they wasn't invited to parties back when he was having parties like that back then. Not the party after the party, but just that regular party, because everybody was coming. All of the celebrities was coming. That's why you see on YouTube, you can see those parties, right? So I'm interested to see, more importantly, what happens with this Tupac thing and them hiring this high-powered lawyer. Once again, they're hiring a high-powered lawyer to investigate Sean Puffy Combs' relationship in with the Tupac murder. So, like I said, once again, they're looking into it. And we can't, we're going to have to wait and see what they actually find out. And whatever they find out, I'm sure they're going to send it to the DA. And yeah, if they're not already investigating it from their perspective out there in Las Vegas, the Puffy connection now that he's been locked up. See, we don't know that, because there could be an indictment coming soon in regards to the murder of Tupac Shakur. We just don't know that yet, do we? But like I said, we'll soon find out. I appreciate everybody, tuning in with me. I appreciate your time, and thank you for the support, and thank you for the donations. Anybody who gave any donations, thank you for that. Peace. Like I said, I don't really be looking. I would just be trying to give you the game. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. Thank you all for coming in here tonight. And until the next time we link up, your boy DELRAY, straight gang.